And welcome back, YouTube. This is Booster Buster here with another Wildcard Wednesday. Today's video is going to be a lot more serious, as I'm going to be talking about the hot button issue of censorship in video games. Specifically, I want to talk mostly about Sony and how they're censoring the PlayStation 4 at this time. Now, as many of you may have read and heard recently, Sony has apparently been censoring PlayStation 4 games for quite a while, and they just kind of revealed why they've been doing it. And let me tell you, I think it's a bunch of bull crap. I'm sorry, censorship in video games should not happen. Let the public decide if the art is any good or not. Video games are an art form. Now, apparently, from what I've gathered, they're really cracking down on sexually explicit content, which I'm going to go over a few reasons why that's a really dumb reason in just a little bit. And from what I gather, they're doing it for a few reasons. Because A, different cultures may find one thing offensive while another culture may find it perfectly fine. 2, to save the company's reputation as not being a sleazebag company, I don't know. And 3, so they wouldn't be liable for any type of lawsuits, which once again, that is a BS reason. I think that whoever is in charge of Sony just don't like those type of games. And first off, I want to talk about the huge umbrella that is, SE type of content. What exactly falls under that type of content? Is it full frontal, which, if that's the case, okay. I can understand that a little bit. But if it's done in a very tasteful way, then why bar it? Is it cleavage? If that's the case, oh boy, almost every fighting game in existence is going to get censored in some type of way. Is it the tone of the way that they talk? If that's the case, that could be taken a lot of different ways. Is it what falls under that category, It's really hard to try and pinpoint that, because through everybody's eyes, everybody has a different idea of what is exactly that type of content. Another thing I want to talk about. They're worried apparently about kids seeing this content while people live stream, like on Twitter and Twitch and YouTube and all that type of stuff. That is where I like to say parents should be watching what their kids are looking at. So that falls under the parental category of not paying attention to your kids and letting a computer parent your kids. That is just a whole nother conversation. 3, we already have a rating system. Why can't you let the rating system decide what type of content it is? And then if it's, if it's bad enough and it falls under AO content, then guess what? Almost no video game consoles sell AO content, and I can understand that. You have to get them pretty much on PC, and they are very few places that actually sell them online. So that's why you let the video game content system dictate that stuff. If it's M-rated, then once again, this falls back to the parenting situation. Let the parent look at the game, see that it's M-rated, then the parent should not be buying that for their kids. If it's an issue of viewing that stuff online, once again, the parent needs to watch what their child is watching, or at least pay attention to it and be like, hey, my kid should be seeing that. I need to set the parental guidance issues or things on my computer slash phone, whatever. Is it viewing it on the PlayStation eShop? If that's the case, and I don't know if Sony has this set up or not, but there should be a parental lock where you can only view like T rating and below, and then all that M rated stuff is gone for viewing by whoever's looking at it. Because, I mean, there's multiple different ways to solve this. I know a lot of it falls on the parenting side, but why do parents let computers, phones, and video game systems parent their kids? I don't know. That's a different story for a different day. Let's get back to censorship. Now, if you ask me, if I'm a video game developer and I hear that they're censoring PlayStation 4 games, I may not make a PlayStation 4 game. I may have to make a Switch or an Xbox One game. I know the Xbox One does not do very well in Japan, and the Switch does not have the high-res graphics, but if it's either that or being censored, I would rather make one for a different console. I'm sorry. I think that some video game developers, especially independent ones, may not make any more games for the PlayStation until they change their ways. I, for one, will not be buying a PlayStation 5 if they continue this censorship policy. I'm sorry, but I am putting my foot down. I'm not buying PlayStation 5 if they continue the censorship policy into the PlayStation 5 generation. Now, see, video games are just an art form. Let me ask you this. If a Sundance Film Festival, would someone be barred if they featured some woman in a bikini? Because it's a beach movie? I don't think so. If, what did we say? If there's a song that comes out for music, would anyone want to censor that? I don't think so. Censorship is a very bad policy, and I really hope Sony decides to reverse their decision and let video game developers make the content that they want, and let the rating system determine the ratings. The other thing I want to talk about is apparently the double standard that Mortal Kombat 11 has for its character design. Apparently, men are 100% okay to fight shirtless or in like a tight pair of boxers or like a Speedo, but women have to be much more covered up. That makes absolutely no sense. Why can't a woman fight in a sports bra and a pair of shorts? That, once again, makes absolutely no sense. Why can't you do that? Haven't you ever seen professional wrestling? Women are very, very talented, great wrestlers, but they also are allowed to wear very fantastic, flashy costumes that may show a little bit of skin, but it never goes too far. I don't understand why Mortal Kombat 11 had to have that double standard. I'm sorry. This is getting on to a rant. Censorship in video game is bad. It never works out for the company that implements it. Look at the best example. Look at, speaking of Mortal Kombat, the very first Mortal Kombat game that was released on home consoles. Genesis versus Nintendo. Genesis allowed the blood and gore. Nintendo did not. Guess what? Guess who won that battle? Genesis or Sega won that battle. That was the very first instance of censorship, and I gotta say, or a heavy censorship. And I gotta say, Nintendo has improved much, much beyond that, and they are letting rating systems determine the ratings for their games. I can't believe I'm saying this, but if you don't want censored content, Nintendo is the place to go to. I thought I would never say that in my entire life, that Sony would censor before PlayStation. Now tell me, for the next God of War game, if there's any type of succubus character, are they going to censor that? If there is any type of Medusa character, are they going to censor that? I don't know. I mean, God of War has always pushed that envelope. They've always included that type of thing. Why? Well, I mean, a succubus character, that's their ability to seduce their opponent and basically steal their life force by doing them to death. A Medusa is always topless because it's a snake, half human. You ain't gonna find a shirt that's gonna fit. I mean, it's. I'm just getting a little off topic now. I don't know. To me, why do people feel the need to censor in video games? It's just wrong. Once again, it comes down to, in my opinion, the rating board system. Once again, they'll deem where the content falls on the line, and parenting as the two big issues. I'm sorry, but that's the two biggest issues here. Other than that, I don't think I have anything more to say on this issue right now. Censorship in gaming sucks. I really hope PlayStation and Sony decide to reverse that decision, or for the freedom of developers, for the freedom of the gaming community, and I hope people speak loudly with their wallets on the next generation of consoles. If Sony doesn't reverse this decision, then let the people speak on why they do not, on what they want to do. Well, I think that's about it. This is Booster Box Buster with a much more serious in nature video. Signing out.